Hello and welcome to Round the Table. Welcome to Round the Table, your weekly English podcast from the meeting point here in Bilbao. In today's programme we'll be discussing taste and style. But first we've got some interesting words. So last week we were discussing how old words were being reused, how old words have new meanings now in the context of computers, etc. Because we were talking about the mouse, the computer mouse, and how the plural is now mouses when talking about computers. And the verb to like, we were saying don't forget to like, yeah?
Yeah.
It has a different meaning. So I started thinking about other words that we use in computing, which are quite common words now. But of course, when they put new words in the dictionary and they say, oh, this year there are 10,000 new words, for example, they're not really new words. Usually they're words that existed before.
Mm-hmm.
And they've just been brought back in with a different meaning. So I was thinking like a keyboard, a computer keyboard existed on a piano. Yeah, there's always been piano keyboards.
Oh, yeah.
And a desktop, obviously. We have desks and we have the desktop, but it probably wasn't such a common expression in the past. But that's where it comes from.
Sorry, what about laptop? Do you have laptop before?
No, I don't think we did have laptop, but you know the meaning of lap, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah? What's a lap then?
This.
That's not very good for radio.
Can I say in Spanish?
Go on then.
Es el regazo, yeah?
I don't know. I don't know what it is in Spanish, actually. It's the part of your body that only exists when you're sitting down, because as soon as you stand up, it disappears. There's an interesting riddle for somebody, isn't it? What part of your body disappears when you stand up?
I wouldn't know how to describe it, but yeah.
Yeah, so the lap is the top part of your leg when you're in a sitting position. So the laptop computer, the portable computer, is called laptop because you can use it when you're on the train and things like that. And you also have lap dogs, little dogs that sit on you when you're at home. And cats as well.
Yeah.
Like the cat in my father's house, he often says this is a real lap cat because it likes being on people.
Yeah.
And the previous cat was very unsociable and didn't like being on people at all. Mm-hmm. So yeah, lap existed, but not laptop.
Okay.
Screen is another word. We think of screens as the screen on the computer, the monitor, which of course came from the television, TV screens, which came from the cinema screen. But before there was a screen which was more to protect you. This kind of thing that went in front of a fire to stop you getting too hot if you stood next to the fire or sat in front of the fire. So it's a kind of protection which you still hear when people put on sunscreen.
Yeah. I was thinking about that.
The cream that you put on when you go to the beach, it sometimes, if you read it on the tube, it sometimes says sun cream and sometimes it says sunscreen.
Yeah.
So screen can be like a protection or a filter. You can use screen as a verb to filter. Yeah. If you are having interviews, for example, you might like to screen some of the potential employees. So screen had a few different uses before. Even computer.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What was it?
Well, they used to be people. More commonly women, actually. Now, I can't remember where I saw this. I think it was something to do with astrophysics or something like that. Or maybe it was something to do with the early developments of atomic bombs or something. It was something scientific where they needed a lot of calculations to be done. And there were lots of long, boring calculations. And of course, the men did all the important stuff. So they employed these rooms full of women to do these long calculations. And the women were called the computers. So they had a room full of computers, but it was actually a room full of women.
I see.
And of course, virus
Oh, yeah.
had a previous meaning, which of course came back during the COVID virus, became very popular. Memory, of course, had a meaning before. Stream is an interesting word.
Oh, yeah.
We use it now in computing it's like a live broadcast.
Yeah.
Streaming. And,
Streaming, yeah.
And you know what stream is normally?
Well, it's like a little river.
Yeah, that's exactly it, a little river, yeah. And to post, we say post when we put something on YouTube, for example. We post it.
Yeah.
We used to post letters. And once somebody asked me the other day, the word shift came up in conversation, and I said it was to move something. And to shift, like help me shift this furniture or something like that. It's usually something quite heavy. And somebody said, so why is there a shift on my computer?
And why is that?
Well, it goes back to the old days of the typewriters. And when you wanted to use capital letters, I don't know what you call it, like a barrel on the top, the tube shape on the top of the typewriter where the paper went around would lift up, because the keys with the letters on had both the capital and the lowercase letter.
Yeah.
And the whole top of the typewriter would move up when you press the shift button. So it was to shift. It meant to move it.
What about when you work shifts then?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I presume it's because you move one lot of workers in and the other lot of workers move out. Maybe it's just that.
I didn't know that.
It's interesting. Yes, it's an interesting word, shift. Yeah, because you have night shift, don't you?
Yeah.
You work the night shift. Yeah, so shift is for anybody that doesn't know, it's when you have a place that needs to be open all the time. So if you work in a hospital, for example, you can't all go home at 6 o'clock in the evening and leave the patients there. Somebody has to stay and look after them. So you have night shifts. So there were some interesting words, computer-related words, and their previous origins. So, let's look at the topic of the week. This week we are discussing taste and style.
Ooh, taste and style.
Yeah.
So, what do you have to say about taste and style?
Well, we had some interesting conversations this week because we were discussing how taste, style. We discussed style more than taste, I think, but we were discussing how it relates to other words and how connected they are. So we were talking about elegance, for example.
Yeah.
And can you have style without elegance?
Oh, that's a question.
Yeah. And we came to the conclusion that you need elegance. Elegance is part of style. This vocabulary is kind of connected.
Yeah.
They all meet. They're not exactly the same, but there's strong collocations. And words like sophistication came into it, and glamour.
Yeah.
Glamour and style are very connected. And normally when we start talking about style, people start talking about actors, especially actors from the past.
Yeah.
You know, the classic Cary Grant, for example. Somebody was talking about Cary Grant.
Yeah.
And Audrey Hepburn and that kind of classic cinema.
Yeah,
actor.
yeah. You have some quotations here, yeah? And, I would like you to tell me what you think about some of them, okay?
Okay.
So, the first one is, good taste is the enemy of creativity, by Pablo Picasso.
Good taste is the enemy of creativity. Yes, yeah, we were discussing that. We never know what people mean when they say these wonderful quotations. So it's our interpretation. We're trying to interpret what they were saying.
Yeah.
But I presume that good taste is it's kind of limited. If you're talking creativity, and Picasso saying it, he's talking about painting.
Yeah.
So if you're talking about good taste in paintings, it's kind of a very structured limit to what you can do in a tasteful painting. So maybe he's sort of breaking boundaries, as it were, trying to push the boundaries out to explore new ideas. And if your concern is to be tasteful, it's kind of limiting.
Yeah.
And so, when he did that crying woman, or whatever it's called, the weeping woman, and she's got her nose on one side of her face and her eyes on the other side, like, it's not really
good taste.
No. But then maybe it is now. Maybe it wasn't at the time, but maybe it can change. But I think it's because good taste is sort of conformity. There's a sort of very fixed idea of what is tasteful. And maybe if you want to be creative, you have to go beyond that and not worry too much about whether it's tasteful or not.
Yeah, I think in his case, it might go there, in that direction, yeah. Okay, we have another one here. Trendy is the last stage before tacky. Well, maybe you have to explain what tacky means.
Yeah, tacky is, bad taste, really. Well, my example of tacky, as I was giving this week, I went to one of those shops, one of those cheap shops in Bilbao, and they had a clock with coloured lights on it and a coloured background that was sort of rotating, and it was all silver glittery colours, and in the front was The Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci. And it was really the most awful clock I've ever seen. I'd say that was tacky. Tacky, so it's cheap, badly made, bad taste, sort of bright colours. Oh, and the other definition that came up a lot in class, people were talking about Donald Trump in Trump Tower. He's got a lift and the doors are made of gold or something. Or they look like they're made of gold.
Yeah.
Obviously not real gold, but that kind of thing. Like, real. So yeah, that's tacky, and trendy is like fashionable.
Yeah.
So trendy is the last stage before tacky. Yeah, I suppose there's that idea of fashion, isn't there? There's fashion of the trend setters. There's a good word. The trend setters are the people that start the fashion. They're like influencers, say. The trend setters.
Yeah.
So there's those people that start the fashion, and then it becomes popular, and everybody starts doing it. But then there's a point where it's so common that it's sort of not so good. It's bad taste. So I think that's what he means. Trendy is the last stage before tacky.
Okay then, so Giorgio Armani said, the difference between style and fashion is quality. What do you think about this one?
Well, he's saying that style then has to be well made.
Yeah.
Which to a certain extent I can imagine what he's saying. But then again, you can have style without a lot of quality. Because if you imagine some people, again, back to actors in the past, James Dean, he had a lot of style. But in the films, if he's just wearing a white t-shirt and jeans, like, that's not really expensive clothing, is it?
No.
So some people can wear clothes in a way that's very stylish, but without having to buy really expensive things from one of these fashion designers.
Yeah.
A lot of these quotations are from fashion designers, aren't they?
Yeah, I guess because he's a fashion designer, he reckons that you need to use quality for style.
Yeah.
So in his case, I can see that it is like that. And then when you go to fashion and it's all masses, then it's more mass production. It's worse quality. So thinking about it now, I kind of agree.
Yeah, But it's your interpretation of fashion and style, because there's
Yeah.
the fashion designers are not really designing for the masses,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's another type of thing, isn't it? And some people say, "Oh, this person's really trendy," but they're wearing something that nobody else would possibly wear. So how can that be trendy? Trendy should be what everyone's wearing. It's the trend.
Yeah,
So a lot of these words have sort of double meanings, don't they?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I think that what we were just saying about what you're wearing and how you wear it, fashion is what you buy, style is what you do with it. Yeah. So that's a unknown. We don't know who said that, but it's it's how you wear it. Some people can wear things and some people can't.
Yeah, yeah. And some people try. Imagine you pretend you are someone you are not. You might spend lots of money on clothes, but then if you don't wear it in the right way,
Yeah.
it's not right, is it?
Yeah, yeah. And you could get like, you could imagine sometimes they sell these iconic dresses from films, don't they?
Yeah.
You could buy a dress that was worn by Audrey Hepburn,
Yeah.
and maybe you wouldn't. I'm sorry. But maybe you might not look quite so stylish as Audrey Hepburn.
Yeah, because it's the way you wear it. And I think you said that once. It's the way you walk, you move. No?
Yeah.
Even when people are smoking,
Yeah.
no? There are different ways of
Yeah.
doing it. So that's important as well. The way you move
Yeah.
is more important than the clothes you wear, really.
Yeah. Yeah. Posture and the way you walk is very important. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
They don't teach that kind of thing anymore, do they? I wonder if posture will be really bad in the future. I bet.
But did they teach it in the past?
Well, my mother used to walk around with books on her head.
Oh, really?
I don't know if she learnt that in school or where she had to
Really?
do it, but she
But
told
was
me.
he a model?
Yes. She did
Oh, well, that's why.
well, she did a bit of modelling. She wasn't a model. She worked in a...
Was he top model?
No, she wasn't top model, no. She worked in a fashion house, as it was called, a fashion house. She worked for a fashion designer in London, the top one in the day.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
And she did a bit of modelling when she worked there.
Ah,
Yeah.
well, but maybe that's why she knew how to walk then.
Yeah. Well, she did have good posture, yes.
She did, actually, yeah. Okay, very good. And the last one.
I think this last one should be quote of the week.
Okay, yeah.
I think it sums up style quite well.
Okay, so what is it then?
This is by Jean Cocteau, who, do you know him?
No.
I knew the name, and shame on me, I didn't know much about him. I was looking on internet. He did films and he wrote stuff, and I'm sure if you go to France, he'd be super famous because he did a lot of things, and he's a very important person in the world of arts, and we should know about him.
Oh, I apologize.
Yes, I apologise as well.
I should do my research.
Yeah, I know, but there's too many famous people in the world, and we can't know everything.
Yeah.
Anyway, here is the quote of the week. Style is a simple way of saying complicated things.
Oh, very good, very good. I like this one.
Yeah, I think it's very good.
It says a lot in a simple sentence.
Yeah, well, he's got a very stylish way of making sentences then, hasn't he? Yeah. But if you think about it, when you think of style, again, talking like dresses and things like that, a very simple black dress is probably more stylish than a dress with lots of colours or lots of things added to it, like big puffy fluffy things and frilly edges and all that.
Yeah.
It's got very simple lines.
Yeah.
It's quite minimalist, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And it says a lot more, doesn't it? So
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty good quotation, yeah.
Very good, very good.
So that is our quote of the week. What time are we at? Oh, look, we got time for a quick game of What's the Difference? Let's play What's the Difference? Okay, so the first one is something that came up quite a few times in conversation this week. The difference between it suits you and it fits you. In the context of clothes, it suits you or it fits you.
Oh, I see. Well, I think the difference is when you said it suits you, it means that it looks good on you.
Yeah.
It's more like your style.
Yeah. Style and colour as well.
Okay.
Some people don't look good in certain colours. do
Yeah,
they?
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. And fits you, it fits you is the right size. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not too big, not too small.
Yeah.
It's
Fit,
the right.
fit is about size. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it suits you, it fits you. That is correct.
Okay.
Okay. What about the next one on the list is costume and custom. They're very similar words, so they get confused easily.
Yeah.
So a costume is what you wear.
Yeah.
What you put on a costume.
Yeah.
Normally it's some special type of clothing, yeah?
Yeah.
Like if you're going to carnival or something like that, you put on your Superman costume.
Yeah. What about the typical clothes of a region, for example? Do you know here we have typical
Yeah.
clothes? Could it be like a costume?
Yeah.
Okay.
And a custom is something that is traditional, something you do, your local customs, the dances, the fiestas and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
They're customs, aren't they?
Yeah.
There's
So
al-
do we have typical costumes for our customs then?
Yeah. Something like you could have a costume for your custom to celebrate your customs. Yeah. You've also got customs when you go through the airport.
Oh yeah.
And that's connected, and I can't remember why. I've looked at it before.
You have to do your research
Yeah,
again.
but somebody asked me in the past, and I found out the answer, and I've forgotten. But yeah, customs at the airport are related.
Yeah.
And then we've got another word which is similar, customer.
Customer, yeah.
Because we've got customers and clients. We've got two words. So what's the difference between a customer and a client?
So can it be that client normally they buy a service,
Yeah.
whereas the customer buys a product?
That's right, yeah. So customers are normally in shops.
Yeah.
And a client is more in an office, I guess. If you had an office, if you were an architect or an accountant, or you worked
Lawyer?
in lawyers, advertising people, they'd all have customers. No, they're not, sorry, I said that wrong. They'd have clients, yeah? They'd have clients.
Yeah,
but if you were in a shop, if people take something away in a bag, yeah? You've got a bag full of potatoes, you're a customer.
What about in a restaurant, where it's a kind of product and service?
What do they call them? I think they call them customers.
Customers.
But
yeah.
it's a vague area. It's not black and white.
Yeah.
Like a lot of language in English, you say this word means this and this word means this. But sometimes there's a context in the middle where they go from one to the other.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
talking restaurants. What about waiters and barmen?
Yeah, I think that waiter, you find them more in a restaurant because they come to the table, yeah? They
Yeah.
serve you.
They wait on you.
They wait on you.
They wait on you is the verb, yeah.
Yeah. Whereas the barman is behind the bar,
That's
yeah?
why he's a barman, yeah. And, well, sometimes you talk about bar staff, yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
we used to say barmaid for the girl behind the bar, but it's not considered very good at the moment.
Yeah.
Maid is a word that's gone out of fashion a bit, unless you live down in the West Country. Down in Devon we use the word maid quite a lot for girls, but a lot of people think it's not a very nice word because it's normally a girl in the context of servant. Like you get a chambermaid who cleans the rooms in the hotels and
yeah.
things like that.
Yeah.
Milkmaids used to milk the cows. So it's a sort of servant name, so people don't like it much.
Yeah.
But you have bar staff work behind the bar, and they're not waiters because they don't wait on the tables.
Yeah.
And there used to be waitress as well
Oh, yeah.
for a female waiter, and I don't know if that's gone out of fashion because I've noticed that actress is disappearing, isn't it?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because you get actresses are sometimes now described as actor.
Oh.
An actor used to be the man, an actress was the woman.
Really? But that's a bit the opposite of what they are trying to do. I think.
That's another debate for
Yeah.
another week. We'll come back to that one.
Yeah.
The last one on the list then is safety and security. Again, there is a little overlap in the middle, but generally, safety is to do with preventing accidents, and security is to do with preventing crime.
Ah, I see.
So you have security guards.
Yeah.
They're stopping you from stealing things from the supermarket.
Yeah.
They're called security guards. But you have a safety belt when you put on your safety belt when you get into a car, for example.
Yeah.
So all those things that prevent accidents are normally safety features.
Yeah.
And security is like locks on the door. That's you put on extra locks for security purposes. Yeah, that's not safety.
Yeah,
You see?
yeah.
That's security, isn't it?
Yeah.
So generally speaking, that's the difference between safety and security.
Very good, very good.
Okay, I think that's enough for this week. So next week we've got the topic of green coming up. Green. Yes, there's all kinds of things green next week, all about plants and parks and deforestation and things like that. A bit of ecology and stuff like that.
Nice.
Gardens and nice things. Anyway, so that's enough for this week, and
Very good. Thank you very much, Richard. Thank you,
you,
everybody, for listening.
yes, and tune in next week.
Don't forget to like.
Oh yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and all that stuff. Okay, see you next week. Bye.
Bye.